This is a quick demo of how to generate a Javadoc file system of documentation for a very simple Java program. So I'm going to go to a temp directory. So let's show a little bit what my directory structure is. If I go cd by itself, brings me to my home directory. Oops, ls. I see what is important for me is that I have two directories. One is temp, that's where I'm going to put my Java programs and run them. And one is public HTML, and for us at Smith, every student account has one. This is where we can put stuff for the web, web pages that can be shown and explored with a browser. That's where we're going to put our Javadoc. So I'm going to go back to temp, so cd temp, and I've already prepared a file. Which is called animal.java. So let's take a look at it. So it has the, it is all commented out. So let's see if we can see the whole thing here. Almost, yes. Okay, we can see the whole thing. So you can see that I've added some comments at the top, the Javadoc, and all my methods here have been documented in the same fashion. All right, so now that we've done that, and so the syntax will be covered somewhere else, but you can take a look at the different syntax that I'm using here for the parameters, for the author, and I don't have a method returning anything, but if I did, there would be a special tag as well for return, @return. So that's my animal that has been documented for Javadoc. So I'm going to clear again the screen. And so to generate a Javadoc is very simple. And I'm going to specify where I want the resulting files. It's going to create a lot of HTML documentation. So I'm going to say it's in my account, which in Linux the shortcut is // in my account in a directory called public HTML. And here, because I have only one file, I'm going to call the directory where I'm going to put all this called animal to match animal.java. We can have a different scheme. And then, so that's what you have to specify first, the destination, -d for that. And then what particular file you want to create the documentation for. Right now I have one. If I had several, I would list all of them. And I'm asking for the documentation for animal.java to be generated. So you see it's creating a lot of HTML files here. All of this is being built automatically for us. So let's go back to the main directory, cd, so that's my home. Again, let's take a look at the fact that I have public HTML, which is a standard name for a place where you want to put web pages on the Linux system. cd public HTML. Clear. Let's take a look. So now I have one directory called animal. If I go into it, I see that there's a lot of new files. That's going to be the documentation. So a little something that we have to do. If I go back one level up, cd ... and I look at my directories using -l. ls-l means give me the long listing, and I see that my animal directory is a directory, that's a little d, and read-write executable by me, the owner, but nobody on the system can access it, can read or access the information. So the web server would not be able to access it. If I were to ask right now to see the documentation, I would get an error message from the browser. So what I need to do is to change the access to all my files to be readable and executable by everybody. So chmod is the command in Linux. -r means go recursively, go into the animal directory, and everything that you find, including subdirectories, go in there, and all the files that you find, A for all, make them readable and executable. And do that for everybody, for every file, *. All right. So now if I look again, -ls-l, I see that everybody in my group, which is everybody in the class, in the 212 class, will be able to read and To execute a directory simply means to go inside, to be able to go into, and the whole world, including the web browser, will be able to read and execute animal, and therefore we'll have access to that. All right, so where do I sit? So now I'm going to open my web browser, make it a little bigger here. So our server is cs/edu/ user 212a, and people in the class would be 212a dash whatever two-letter ID you have. So for me it's just 212a. And then animal. If I press on this, that's it. I have the documentation for my class, for my animal class. And you see this is a link. I can click on it. This is this page. It tells me that animal is derived. It extends automatically Java language object. So that means every class that I create is part of a Java. It's a Java object by default. And it has the method. I have display basic info and main. I only have two. Display basic info returns void. Main is a static void. And giving me a lot of information, so I can click on one of them and now see the information about display basic info. I see this actually was, so let's take a look at, let's go back here and go back to temp, less animal Java. So the information that you're seeing right here display all information about the animal. The format is max, tattooed, not vaccinated. I'm going to see this from here, right? Oops, see. See this part here is what generated that. The P here is HTML for next line. Start a new paragraph. That's why I have a blank line here. Format BR means format breaker line, so I don't have a blank line. And the TT tag in HTML says create text that is teletype. And for example here, if we look at main, test the class, creates an animal and displays it. That's this part. And the parameters, args, the command line argument, that's created by that line. Here args, the command line arguments, and param here is the tag that creates this list. So a very quick introduction to how that works. So that video hopefully will allow you to be able to do that yourself, all the different steps. Have fun.